Girls, this week we are going to start talking about organisms and cells. And organisms are either unicellular or multicellular. So unicellular means one cell. That's a one-celled organism. And multicellular means there are multiple. There are more than one cells that make up that organism. And we're going to learn about those now. So first, what is an organism? An organism is something that is living, okay? So when we look at these pictures, we might look at some of those and say, a mushroom? But these are organisms. They are living things. So we don't need to just think about a human or an animal. Many things are organisms. All right, now a cell is the smallest unit of life that is classified as a living thing. So cells are the smallest unit of life that are classified as a living thing. That's why they're unit of life. Do all living things have the same amount of cells? So we kind of just talked about that when I began this PowerPoint, and that would be no. Okay, so a unicellular organism, its body, it's composed of only one single cell. A multicellular obviously is made up of numerous, multiple cells, more than one. All right, so when you are talking about organisms, you're either having the unicellular or the multicellular. Now, I always kind of think about it as unicellular or those single-celled organisms. Single is one, are these words like amoeba, bacteria, paramecium. Okay, a lot of times they're these funny words. They're not something that we recognize. There's some sort of bacteria, some sort of thing that we are not familiar with, okay? But a multicellular organism is consisting of many cells, and that would be a plant, an animal. We are a multicellular organism. And we're going to talk about the difference in those besides just the one cell. All right, now, all organisms provide or perform the following life functions. They grow, they move, they reproduce or make more of themselves. They have respiration, which means they breathe or exchange gas in some ways. So just like we were studying earlier this year about transpiration, where plants also let off that oxygen. Remember, we caught that evaporation in those Ziploc bags. So that's a gas exchange, like breathing. Nutrition, finding food for energy, and excretion, or getting rid of waste. So to be an organism, you have to perform those life functions. All right, so here's some good differences in unicellular and multicellular. All right, again, a unicellular is made of one cell, and it can survive as that one single cell. And that organism can do all life functions within it. All the 6 life functions that we just said that are also listed right here in the middle. They can move, they can grow, reproduce, excrete, exchange gas, or breathe. All right, get nutrients. They take in materials directly from their surroundings. So they are kind of living off of what is right there. But these materials do move freely around in the cell. Okay, so multicellular is made of more than one or multiple, and it cannot survive as a single cell because each cell is specialized to perform the life functions. They have different systems to move different materials throughout the body. Now, once we get through this week, we're going to specifically talk about our body systems. So you're very familiar with them, I'm sure, but We know that we breathe because of our respiratory system, and that's our lungs and our mouth and our nose. You know, our big toe is not helping us to breathe. That's what this is talking about. We're multicellular because we have different specialized parts of our body that do our different jobs, where a one-celled organism does everything all there in one. Okay. So, like we said, a single cell can do everything, all those life processes alone. And multicellular has different specialized cells that do different things. Okay. So, in a unicellular organism, that cell is exposed to the external environment on all sides. It's not protected, it's just there. Now, in a multicellular, only those outer cells face the environment. Then the inner ones are devoted to other functions. So like our skin obviously is an outer cell, but our, like in this picture we're seeing inside of our body, of course that is not facing the environment on the outside. So if there's an injury, a unicellular organism, if it has an injury, then it's most likely going to die. But in us, multicellular, or like in a tree or an animal, if there's some sort of injury or death of some cells, it's not going to ruin the entire thing. Okay? And it can be replaced sometimes by a new one. You know, when we fall and get a scrape on our knee, we're not going to always have that scrape on our knee forever. We break our leg, you know, we can be healed and things like that. Okay, size limitation. A unicellular organism in a cell body cannot attain a large size because of the limit imposed by surface area to volume ratio. But a multicellular organism can attain a large size because it's increasing the number of small cells. So kind of like those unicellular are going to stay pretty much like they are forever. And then lifespan. A unicellular organism is going to have a short lifespan because it has a heavy load of work. Remember, that one cell, that one thing is doing everything to help it survive. And that's a heavy load of work. Multicellular organisms usually live longer because there's a limited load of work. They're all sharing in that work. Okay, just like if you're, working together with your family to get something completed at home. If everybody pitches in, it's not as hard on one person. Okay, regeneration. So in a unicellular organism, a well-marked capacity of regeneration is present. So it is able to regenerate. Remember, it does all its life functions. So, but in a multicellular, the capacity of regeneration decreases with increasing specialization. So just like in this photo, this man lost his legs. They're not going to grow new legs. He's not going to grow new legs. All right, and then here, this is something important for you to know. This is our levels of organization. So the smallest is a cell. Cells come together to make tissue. Tissues come together to make an organ, and then organs come together to make a complete organ system. So this is an important slide for you to know. Cell, tissue, organism, that organ system. All right, and that's all I have for you guys today.